Hi folks, just a quick recap. In the last video, we had looked at how to import CSV file, how to look at the shape, which is nothing but number of rows and columns of the data set, and how to look at top two rows of the data set. So here, for example, I have data set called COVID-19 data, which helps us look at number of active, confirmed deaths and recovered cases in a day based on the country, region, date, latitude, longitude. Now, when we work with big data, let me tell you, you will find a lot of challenges. The one very important and the biggest challenge that we see with big data is incompleteness or missing values. Not all columns of the data set would be filled as it should be. We will have a lot of nulls, NaNs or zeros in the place where ideally something should have been present but nothing is present, right? So when we look at the head of this data set, we found that in the first two rows, province or state is NaN. NaN is nothing but not a number. So whenever you do any analysis with big data, it's very important to validate the data, check the data, clean the data, understand the missing values, understand the columns from a business sense, what do they mean, and then how to build the approach which can help you which can take you to the right business solution that you're working on. So in this video, what we will do two things. First, how to check the nulls, whether they are present in any of the columns or not. Then understand what we should do with the nulls. Should we ignore those rows where there are nulls? Should we ignore those columns where there are nulls? Or should we replace these nulls with zero? Or what we should do with them so that our analysis is clear, and it gives us right business insights that we are looking for. Okay, so to know how many columns have nulls, we will type this simple one line code, which is df.isNull.sum. If we do that, it will give us the number of columns which have null values. So and also the number of rows where those null values are present. So what we have found in this data set, which is of around 214k rows, of that 214k rows, 149k rows, in 149k rows, province or state is null. We don't have the data on province or state for 149k rows out of 204k rows. Okay, country and region, it's not null in any of the rows. Latitude, longitude are null for 1546 rows, which is 1.5k, and WHO region is also null for around 2.3k rows. So this is the data that helps us understand how we should proceed with our analysis. This basic understanding of nulls, nans and zeros is important for us to proceed further for any of the analysis. Now when we look at other columns, so we have understood that province or state has lot of nulls. Okay, and we may then decide whether to use it or not to use it in our analysis. However, country or region doesn't have any null, latitude, longitude, small nulls, date not null. However, for other columns like confirmed, deaths, recovered and active, we are seeing 0, 0 in the first two rows, but we need to understand what is the range of the numbers for these columns, right? So in order to understand what is the range of numbers, there are multiple ways to look at. So if I have to look at what is the range for confirmed, on top I see only one value 0. So there's one way I can understand what is the range of the values for confirmed. So what I'll do, I'll select the data frame, which is df, I'll type the column name, which is confirmed, and I'll check the value counts. Value counts is nothing but it will give me some sense of the range of the numbers present in that column. Okay, so let me do, so in out of 214k rows, around 18k rows have 0 value. Okay, then we also have values of confirmed as 30,000, 5,27,931 and so on. So, and we even see very big number like around 18.9 million. So on one day, on one particular day, it was possible that in one country or region we had 18.9 million confirmed cases in a day, which sounds a bit strange that 18.9 million cases came in a single day. If we want, we can look at the date also, right? But if we want to look at the range, then let's look at the minimum and the maximum. Let's look at the minimum and the maximum of this column. Dot minimum, let's see, 0. Okay, so minimum of this column is 0, which we found that it is present in around 18,000 rows is 0. Let's look at the maximum. So instead of typing it again, I will just copy this. Okay, let's look at the maximum. I think maximum would be that 18.9 million. Oh wow, 79.2 million. So 79.2 million cases on one single day. It sounds a bit strange, but this is the reality of big data. Okay, so when you work with big data, you never know what is the range of values, and these are the commands that you should type. You should first check whether there is any null. If yes, then how to deal with it, and what is the value counts, what is the general range, I would say, for the value in the columns, what is the minimum, what is the maximum. Now like this we can check minimum maximum for other columns also, but one thing that we should note, what I found in the data is that I was doing it separately. I found that when we look at active cases, according to me active cases should be positive or 0, right? It cannot be negative. But what I found is that some of the values in active column is also negative. Okay, so active is minus 16 or I would say 1,63,000. So I don't think this is the right value. Again, this is the practicality of big data. The values could be any values could be in any form. It may or may not be correct. We have to be very careful, right, in using the right set of numbers, and these could be the outliers, and we can ignore them for our analysis. So through this video, I would like to highlight two things. For a big data, always check whether the column has null values, and if you want to replace, now there's one way to replace null values with zeros. Okay, so what you can do, you can type df.fillna 0 in place is equal to true. Now if you do that, then what you have done, you have replaced all these NaNs with 0. Let me show you how you have done that, and you have to decide. Okay, so earlier we were seeing NaN here, which is not a number. Now you have replaced NaN. Fillna is nothing but fill NaN, which is not a number, with 0 in place is equal to true, means that in the same data frame replace all NaN with 0. If you don't put in place is equal to true, then it will not save it. It will not save it as on that data frame. It will be just a temporary data frame that will be there, but it will not be saved, right? So always use in place is equal to true if you want this particular data frame to be changed. Okay, so through this video, please look at the nulls, look at the nans, look at the zeros, understand the range of the columns that are present in the data set, understand what are the outliers, and try to basically come up with the relevant data. Out of this 214K, not all rows are relevant for us for analysis, because some of the rows doesn't look right where we have active as negative, and we have such big values, 79 million active cases. That's very strange. Okay, so hope you will follow these techniques. If you have any questions, please type it in the comment and I will reply to that, or will create a separate video on that. And if you did not saw my last video where we started with this data set, please watch that video. Okay, thank you. All the very best.